That is astonishing. Astonishing. And they're supporting data to back this up. According to the New York Times, their exit polls showed that Donald Trump won the black vote. He won 12% of the black vote. Okay, that is an improvement on his performance from 2016. By race, Donald Trump won only 8% of the black vote last time. This time, 12%. By race, Donald Trump last time won 29% of the Hispanic vote. This time, he won 32% of the Hispanic vote. By race, last time he won 29% of the Asian vote. This time, 31% of the Asian vote. And for others, he won 37% last time and 40% this time. This is according to the New York Times. Okay, those are excellent numbers for the president. Like much better numbers for the president in minority communities. Now, he did drop his margin of victory among people who are 65 and older, won 53% of the vote last time among 65 and over. This time among 65 and over, won 51%. But the reality is that while everybody in the media keeps saying it was white people who put Trump over the top, precisely the opposite. Trump actually underperformed his performance last time with white people and did better with minorities. He particularly did heavy work among Latinos in Florida. If you look at the Republican coalition in Florida, that looks like the future of the Republican Party. 55% of Cubans voted for Donald Trump. 30% of Puerto Ricans voted for Donald Trump. A huge percentage of Venezuelans voted for Donald Trump. And the reason for that is, I think, twofold. Threefold. One, Trump took the time winning campaign. While the media was mocking his poor Donald Trump dance and music videos, people were actually watching that stuff. Two, Democrats kept saying that they were warm towards socialism. You know who doesn't like socialism? Anybody who's lived under it. People who've lived in Venezuela or Cuba, turns out they're not real fond of socialism. Okay, so that was factor number two. And factor number three is that Florida just happens to be a redder state. A lot of the people who are left behind by the Democrats who proclaim Black Lives Matter and sort of left Latinos behind, that has real impact. See, Democrats believe that if they just pander to each racial group, everything is fine. If you just say amnesty to a person of Latino extraction, that means they're going to vote Democrat. Or if you just say BLM to black people, they're going to vote Democrat. But this election shows that is not the case. You got to go, you got to do the heavy lifting, you got to go, and you got to campaign, and Trump did that, and he changed the math in Florida fairly dramatically. That is a much more durable and interesting coalition than the historic Republican coalition. There's a lot of talk in the aftermath of 2012, after Mitt Romney lost, about making the party more diverse. Who the hell knew that it would be Donald Trump who did that? I think one of the reasons for that, by the way, is because Donald Trump has a very durable public image. And we've talked about the fact that everybody has an opinion on Trump. Well, that has its downsides. It also has its upsides. Meaning that if you're a Latino person, and you've been watching Trump for 30 years, and you're watching him on TV, and suddenly they declare that he's a racist who hates Latinos, you're like, well, really? I've been watching him for a long time. Same thing with a lot of black Americans. Donald Trump is used in rap music from the 90s as like the epitome of being rich. And suddenly you're turning him into a vicious racist just because he's a Republican? I'm not sure it washed. So the woke narrative went down to flaming defeat last night, and that's a very, very good thing. So a lot of good things happened last night, even as we await the final outcome of the presidential election. We are joined on the line by Robert Cahaly, his chief pollster at the Trafalgar Group. Of course, gained media attention in 2016 for being one of the pollsters to accurately predict the election of Donald J. Trump. Was much derided by the chicken entrail reading other pollsters in the business this year when he proclaimed that Donald Trump was leading in states ranging from Michigan to Pennsylvania. Well, now it seems like he's the only person who even remotely got it right. Robert, welcome back to the program for a well-deserved victory lap.
Hey, it is great to be here, and as complicated as today is, it's been gratifying for us to see all this, to get all this attention.
Well, let's talk about, again, what you guys did right and what everybody else did wrong. So there's new polls showing that a huge percentage of Trump voters say that they just lied to pollsters, or at least they said that they were not willing to answer questions from pollsters. You identified a Trump vote that the media suggested did not exist. Honestly, I was taken aback by how badly the polls did, considering they were supposed to have fixed this thing. I mean, that's the part that's so astonishing to me. You know, as somebody who's a fan of data, I have a certain level of faith that if somebody really, really screws up, the next time around they try to do a little bit better. But they did worse this time than they did the last time in terms of polling a lot of these races. That was particularly true in Florida, where they screwed it up in 2018. This time, the Real Clear Politics poll average had Joe Biden up somewhere between 1 and 2 points. He ended up losing it by 3. You had Donald Trump winning the state by 2 points. The Real Clear Politics polling average suggested that Wisconsin was a blowout in favor of Joe Biden. You had that thing basically dead even. It was dead even. What did you do right that everybody else did wrong?
Well, first of all, I wasn't shocked at all because they didn't understand what they did wrong, and they still do not what they did wrong. They don't understand. They cannot accept that the model of certainly the live call is dead. The live call, live person, people are going to hide their feelings, especially in this light of cancel culture and being judged for their opinion. And so the live interview is dead. They have to get over that. They got to let that sacred cow go. But even worse, Michael Moore pointed out something that was very true, and that is Trump people tend to be even suspicious of giving their answer to anybody. And so you have to figure out a way to get around all of this. And we explained what we did in 2016 with the neighbor question, which helped us. But this was a different threshold because in 2016, it was just give people something anonymous and that's good enough. But this year it was a little more because some of them just didn't want to participate at all, and they weren't anticipating the low propensity voters that were going to turn out. As I think I told you before, we isolated what that universe was, and we built them into all of our models. They were being polled. People whose only vote in the last 20 years was 2016. People who fit another set of